Yeah,
Hey,
just 1 second.
that works.
Yeah,
Can you hear
good.
us?
Yes, very well.
All right. So I'm just getting the one portion set, and then we will. Uh, How you doing tonight, though?
Very good yourself.
All right. Whereabouts are you currently?
What's that? Where am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still in Montreal right now.
Oh, okay. How's things with the lockdown and everything up there?
It's pretty bad now. we got a curfew at 8 p.m. So yeah, I was here ahead of time, but yeah, lockdown and curfew and it's getting violent a little bit too. So,
Really? You're having some of that shit up there too?
well, it's yeah, it goes over the border. I guess there was some threats made today that they would blow off a big bridge in Montreal, and so everybody's on alert right now. So
What? You know, and we're running with this. We got PCO with us, but I gotta ask, since we're talking real life shit here, it's we here in the U.S. had the thing in D.C. last week. You're here having what you said with this whole bridge thing, and up in Montreal. What
yeah,
the serious question is before we get into the fun stuff? What in the hell is going on with people nowadays? Seriously.
I don't know. It doesn't look very good for the change of president on the 20th or the 19th. I don't know which day. Very apprehensive about that might be some violence going on. I guess I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know. Uh, I guess this pandemic was, just the start of everything, and there's so much juice that got pulled off of this pandemic. It's crazy
Yeah,
on
just
all kind. As artistic side, wrestling side, political side, like. Uh, Here our structures, the health system, everybody's bragging like, oh, Canada, they got free health cares, and it doesn't, it's not working. The system is cracking. The system can't take it anymore. But it's been like that for the last 10, 15 years. I remember in the year 2000, I went to the hospital for something, a little injury that I had to see a doctor, and it took like 14 hours just to see a doctor. It's free, but you don't have the service. So
yeah.
imagine now with this pandemic, it was like that 15, 20 years ago. So we got two systems that are not working well in Canada. It's the schools and the hospitals and all the health systems. So it took that pandemic for them to realize that, whoa, we haven't figured anything out yet.
We might need to address some things. So, but it's funny that you say about the free health care, and people always say that and stuff. And here's
Yeah.
something that somebody, and then we'll get into the fun stuff in Ring of Honor and all. Somebody brought this up to me when I was working in Florida full time for a amusement park. The gentleman I was working with was from Toronto, and I made the joke about free healthcare and this and that. Because, right? Yep. Being sarcastic in my mid-20s that I was. He goes,
Yeah.
think about this. It may be free healthcare, but think about the cost of our taxes in other areas, property
Crazy.
tax. Because he goes, think about it. Think where's that cost going to be covered by?
Yeah.
So
Nothing is free.
yeah, exactly. He goes, you're paying for it somewhere.
Yeah.
But we need to say thank you to Mark from behind the scenes as well for hooking us up. Other
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
other than seeing the craziness of what we've been talking about and why we're doing this, how have you been handling things with the family?
I've been doing good because I managed to find a way to get a gym where I could go. Even everything, the gyms are closed, the bars are everything is closed. The grocery store is closed at 7:30. But I managed to get the key from a private old gym where I have access, where I go there as soon as the lockdown gets off, at 5 a.m. I head up there and I can train every day. And then, by 9, 8, 9 a.m., I'm out of there. So, it's, uh, there's a little ring there where I can, practice a few things and just keep the rhythm, because as professionals, we can't blame it on something like, oh, it's a pandemic, I didn't have time to be ready, or to train, or this and that, and come up with excuses and things like that. So I'm happy that I could manage to do that. And then I've got my daughter. It's pretty hard for kids at school with the mask all day long. They got headaches and things like that, but we managed to get the best out of it and try to I use that time also. I was able to finish and film the whole PCO Justice series. So just so keeping up there and keep things moving, and at least it's a time also where I could decide to write a book or any other things. It's time to use that time to do something good with it. Not just
Well,
watch some films on TV.
yeah. Well, it's funny or interesting that you bring up about going to the gym early in the mornings. And that's part of what I find amazing about this second half of your career, more than anything, that where you've reinvented yourself since coming out of retirement. And it's like you changed your look and just everything that you do. And we all know wrestling's not ballet, as they say. How are you feeling with before pandemic, with the day in, day out of what you've been doing?
Been great. Been seriously. I have no injuries. I have no problems with any. My health is better than ever. My body feels great. Bumping is still cool to me. I love taking bumps. I love being get thrown around and do some crazy things. And so far I've managed all the injuries and things like that, so I could go a high risk maneuver career. Do a lot of things that are pretty crazy, and I've managed to be like in a good health, and just to be able to perform like I want to perform, and not only perform like I want to perform, but my goal is to come out of this pandemic a better wrestler and a better performer than when I was before the pandemic. So it's putting all the efforts just to make this time count, and to to be able to improve. So that's the mindset that when they canceled that show in April, and it was the 18th anniversary in Las Vegas, and I was over there, and we didn't get to perform. My goal when I knew it was going to be, because I got back home, and we knew what happened in China and all over the other places that it was going to be a lockdown, close down the country, and I wanted to make sure that I would come out on the other side stronger than ever, mentally and physically.
Well, with everything you've been doing with Ring of Honor and all that prior pandemic, and even now with the series you mentioned and all, it seems like you have a new appreciation for the business from the beginning of your career. Would that be safe to say?
Yeah, well, the thing is that when you're 23, 24, 25, and suddenly you're, presented on TV all over the world, and gets to your ego a little bit. And then also there's a lot of pressure being put on our shoulders. And it's part of the deal, but as a young guy growing up, I think you kind to auto sabotage yourself sometimes without knowing it. I think it's just unconsciously you're taking wrong decisions, but I think I was thinking it was throwing a lot of hate on a lot of people and blaming a lot of people, and you get caught up, traveling with the guys, and a lot of jealousy has been installed, and people backstabbing each other, and you don't have that much of an experience because, like just before I got hired by WWE, um, I've worked a little bit on the Puerto Rico on the indie scene there, but I was an outsider coming to Puerto Rico working their top guys, and it was about the same story. If I would go to England, I would work the top English guys. If I'd go to South Africa, I would work the top South African guys, and if I go to Germany, it was a little bit more like you maybe had like 18 Americans and 7, 8 UK guys, and so you had like different. You had more competitions there, and the payoffs were kind of pretty big too. So I got a glimpse of what was coming up in WWE, but there's moons away. There's two different worlds when you get into like a very competitive, like and cutthroat world, a jungle basically, and you're not really prepared for that. So you do a lot of things that, this time around, like I was prepared. I was prepared mentally. I was prepared for everything, and that's why I enjoyed it so much, because I enjoyed every single second of it, every moment, every night, every match is like. Enjoyed everything, the whole concept, getting there early, traveling, the guys that I traveled with, the locker room. I didn't get involved in any, uh, you know, bad mouthing things or whatever. I try to stay away from what could, put the fire somewhere. And that's the lesson that I took from the past, and also looking at myself in the mirror, and just feeling responsible, taking ownership of all the decisions and everything that I have been through, not blaming it on other people for whatever happened, things
Yeah.
that I've lived or I've been through.
Well, obviously, going into the pandemic, and even I was talking to one of your cohorts earlier from Ring of Honor, Maria
Yeah.
Canellis, and it just, well, she said it was funny when we were wrapping up with her. She said, when I mentioned we are going to be talking with you tonight, she goes, that guy scares me, with a laugh and a chuckle, but she goes, anybody who could team with the Briscoes is a friend of ours.
Yeah, because I got to know Mike. I haven't met Mariah yet. So, yeah. So, yeah, I got along so far. Mike Bennett's been a gentleman, and they both been like a great acquisition for Ring of Honor. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, very good. So I'm happy to hear that.
But yeah, as I was going with that, the prior to pandemic, and even because of, I bring her up because of other forms such as TikTok and social media and everything else that you guys can't or can and can't do with the restrictions. There was a new wrestling boom happening. And what is it about this currently with Ring of Honor and AEW, this new boom happening? But what do you think makes what you've been doing as PCO so special?
I don't know. I came back. It came back. Everything was. I've been believing in like having such a run, a great run, such a success. I've had that as a goal for a long time, and I never like quit on my goal. At one point, I have to say that, I almost like, you let go and let God almost, where I felt like every door closed. There was no way that I could wrap my mind around something that, like tried somewhere, something happened, tried somewhere else. It's a lot of adversity, and and then I did like a couple of matches. George Angela was there, and then the match with Walter is what spinned everything around. But prior to that, I went to Distro, where I, was really serious about everything, and he's a great coach, a great mentor, sort of just training and things like that. And I was really serious about what I wanted to accomplish, and well, a lot of times, and started from there. I had like an awesome, like super cool, like the way that the things happened against Walter in Louisiana, WrestleMania 34 weekend. This was just like unbelievable. Like getting there on a very super cold reception and leaving out the ring with a standing ovation and everybody going crazy, and that internet had been on fire and going viral and going to be from unknown, almost unknown at the time, in 2018, to being the hottest commentary on the indie circuit, being main event in every states and every promotion in the states and all over Canada, and then having everybody at the end of the year 2019, yeah, towards 2019, yeah, the end December of 2019. Having like every single companies to come with an offer, and having to pick, between the companies, and I've chosen Ring of Honor for many different reasons. But obviously they had a very professional approach, and I really liked the way they offered things, and they showed her how much they were professionals, and how much they wanted to PCO with them, and so that's why I've decided to go there.
Well, obviously, it's got to feel good with all the bumps in the road that you had and have brought up there to finally have the Ring of Honor look at you and go, "Hey, let's still run with the belt." That's got to be so special after all the bumps in the road.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's a run, a long run with all the belts, basically. The tag belt, the 6-man tag belt, and the world title. And, now it's the pure and still the TV that I haven't held yet. But, yeah, carousel would be nice, but, whatever is thrown in front of me, I'm ready to deal with it, and I just got a great mindset going into whatever comes up.
Well, who have you been working with, would you say, in this latest boom that you go, wow, not only have I enjoyed working with them, but this guy's got something?
Well, many guys. I've worked a lot of talented guys, but for me, one of my favorite match, it was against Brian Cage. I really enjoyed Cage. But with so many others, like I can't just say Brian Cage, but it's like right out of my mind like that. Brian Cage, we established a good chemistry between each other. We became good friends, and well, I only wrestled him once, and I was supposed to wrestle him against in LA, and I had to cancel the show because I was under an exclusive contract with Ring of Honor at that point. And then he texted me and he said, "That's a bummer, we didn't get to do it again," and it was a bummer. It was a deception, and I really think he's super talented and super dedicated. And yeah, there's so many other guys that I've crossed on that journey. In MLW, because I was there for a year almost, and I went Bola and LA and Dragunov and Walter. You know, I don't even have to mention their name, but
Yeah.
Brody King, wrestled him, had feud with him, had him as a partner, and then some other guys too. I've wrestled so many different places and so many days in 2018 on the indie scenes. And even I had like some awesome match with Joey Janela, and he's been a big part of my success for matches that we had against each other, and he's the one who brought me to Louisiana with Danny DeManto. But like, there was so many other. There's just some names that I can't even remember. So I had so many matches. But I remember, Texas. There's like good guys that on that territory, and also when Carolina. I've wrestled a kid there who was like reminded me. I forget his name right now, but he reminded me of Chris Benoit, the way the physique and the way that he moved around in the ring, and we had a great main event that night. So I think he's gonna burst into the scene eventually.
Well, only got a couple more minutes with you. I want to, because obviously you've been paying attention to the landscape of things, that when things open up, is there anybody that you haven't worked with that you would like to, but also is there any knowledge, because you talk about your maturity here, how you evolved mentally and physically and everything else, any little piece of advice that you might care to bestow, I guess, to some young guys who might be watching?
Yeah, well, I think the important thing there is just to keep your no matter what the outcome looks like, whatever the external dialogue or the external appearances look like, just keep on listening to your own narrative and your own story and your own belief, no matter what, and just don't get discouraged when things go sideways or go wrong or there's adversity, and just work harder and be the hardest worker, at whatever you do, whatever task you decide to take on, and eventually things will go, towards the way that your thoughts or your inside dialogue, what you tell yourself and what you think and things like that. Eventually, it turns upside down. It's just as a younger wrestler, I was like so caught up. If something would happen and things weren't going the way that I would like things to go, I was getting so frustrated and so mad and so, well, I've done this and I've done that and that doesn't go my way and it's not
You
supposed.
got your own way.
They promised me that and they promised me this and it doesn't happen the way that they promised and things like that, and then you start to listening to other wrestlers' stories and start to get into the this guy is there, he doesn't deserve it, this guy's not good enough, and when you start trashing, without even knowing it, because you're in a car with 4 or 5 other guys, that's where you have tried it. It's very hard at times, because you get involved in stories, but you have to try to stay out of those conversations and not irritate anyone, and just focus on what you have to do. Basically,
Yeah. What's the old story? Telephone, telegraph, tele wrestler.
I didn't know. You just I guess it is that. That's what it is, man.
Especially now with social media, people can just pick up their phone and start typing shit. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very easily. It's so easy to, because let's say you're on the indie scenes, or you're not on a really full-time territory. You're not with Ring of Honor. You're not with whatever Impact, AEW, NXT, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, whatever. When you're just working, once a month for different companies or here and there, and you're doing the indie routes. There's nothing like being working full time with a great or a good company where you're always traveling with other guys. And then that's how things get messed up sometimes.
Well, let's make sure you follow this great gentleman on Ring of Honor. Thank you so much for the time. Best of luck, and see you down the road.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
And see everybody else tomorrow for day 3. Thanks.